Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining Mariposas. So I have set the game up as a two-player game. How does Mariposas work? The whole concept is you start with one butterfly in your particular color down in Mexico. You're going to move that butterfly up into America, stopping next to any of these that you can afford to do to breed them up into a higher number. So this is a number 1. When it gets here, you want to breed that into a number 2. Number 2s can breed into number 3s. Number 3s can breed into number 4s. Number 4s can breed into double number 4s. And by the end of the game, you want to get these back down into Mexico, either the 4s or the double number 4s. If any other number gets down to Mexico, so number 3, that means absolutely nothing. It must be only number 4s that get back to Mexico. Those numbers are talking generationally, and so it's kind of talking through the lifespan of a butterfly or a group or a family or a generation of butterflies going into another generation. So, how does the game actually work? On your turn, you're going to play one of the 2 cards that you have in front of you. You'll notice there's a picture of a butterfly, then a number of arrows, then a spot to stop, which is talking about these spots. So this is saying you'll move one butterfly 5 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go there, 5. Wherever you stop, you'll take the flower that is shown there, which is that one in that particular case. So that was the card played. You just put that down in front of you so we can keep track of the rounds as we're going. Once you've played one card, you take a new card. Everyone else has a turn, then it comes back to you. Say you could play either of these cards. Say I wish to play this one. This one is telling me that I can move my butterfly forward 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can pick up the flower that I've landed on, plus one of the flowers of the surrounding areas. So I could, for example, take another one of those flowers. Let's say this card's picked up. That means that one butterfly can move 1 spot, and one butterfly can move 3 spots. Anytime I could choose to do it with the exact same butterfly. So I could move 1 spot to there, for example, which gets me that flower, and 3 spots, 1, 2, 3, which would get me another flower. Now what I haven't been doing is breeding myself out. So each time I've stopped next to one of these grub markers, which they're all over the board, anytime I finish a movement, or even if I just did the part movement to that and then move somewhere else, that would be fine as well. Say I've gone 1, I get that flower, I could breed because I'm turning from a generation 1 into a generation 2 butterfly, which is going to cost me 2 of the same flower token. If I don't have 2 of the same flower token, I could spend 3 of different tokens, but I've got 2 of the same. So I would turn those 2 in for a number 2 butterfly. That just goes on top of the space. If I had done that just at the end of the first movement, I could then use the second movement for either of the 2 butterflies. Theoretically, I could pull this same butterfly out and go 1, 2, 3, get that flower, and then because that's the generation 1 butterfly, spend another 2 flowers to make another generation 2 butterfly. If this butterfly, so the other player, has managed to breed itself, that card is now not covered, so we can now flip that card over, and these cards tell us what the scoring is at the end of the round. There are 3 rounds: spring, summer, fall. You have 4 turns total in spring, 5 in summer, 6 in fall. Now you will notice that I've got 2 generation 2 butterflies here. The second one came from in front of me. If I get to the end of spring and I haven't bred this butterfly yet, I would get to do this for free. The same deal going from level 2 to level 3 butterflies, they're just there. I'll get into the turnover of season in a second. Really quickly, I'll just run through the other cards. This card is move forward 1, 3 different times. So I've got 3 butterflies there. I could move forward 1 and take 2 of those flowers, 1 again, and 1 there. I would get the flowers of where I've gone to each time, Or I could do all three of them once, or this one a third time, and maybe bring it back to here. So what I've just picked up is 2 of these red flowers, 1 of those white ones, and I've landed on a city. Now you'll notice there are a lot of face down cities across the board. The first person that lands on a city flips that over and gains whatever is on the bottom of it. So in this case, he gains one of these cards. The way these cards work is when I play a card down, I can play this card as well, and it allows me to go an extra spot on one of the movements. So if that's what I played, I could go 1 for that one, 1 for that one, and then 1, 2 for that one. And once that's been played, that then goes back. Or 1, 2. The other thing to realize is whenever you go to a city, there's a die here. You roll the die, and that's the type of flower you take for stopping at the city. There's one side of the die for each flower type, and one that looks like that, and that means any flower. And it's your choice of which one you take if that comes up. If I manage to get up to this spot, you'll notice there's pictures. So the same thing happens, roll the die to get the flower, but there's a picture there. That tells you to take that card. What's this card good for? I'm glad you asked. At the end of the game, each of the cards, so there's 12 of them over there, each of the cards that you have is worth 1 point. There's nothing to stop you having more than one of the same card, by the way. So while there's 12 different cards there, you could have a whole bunch of them, of all the same if you wish. They're worth 1 point each at the end of the game. The other thing they're doing is if you can manage to collect one of each of the cards in a particular color, you then get the benefit of what is at the end of that row. So I've just collected 4 green, which means I have 1 extra butterfly in Mexico at the end of the game. And I'll talk about that in a moment. Each of those change, so I won't go through what each of them mean because there are different ones in the bag, so you'll be able to look them up as you're going. At the end of the season, so once you've played 4 cards, so that was the 4th one there. Once everyone has played 4 cards, we look at this. What this card is saying is that you have at least 2 butterflies above Atlanta. Atlanta is here. So anything in this row or above counts as above Atlanta. If it's in this row, it's not above Atlanta. It's also asking for no butterflies below Atlanta. So white has managed to do that, blue has not, which means white would get 4 points. The other thing that this is asking for is 1 on yellow, 1 on orange, 1 on green. So you notice I got 1 on orange, 1 on red, 1 on green. I don't have it. If that is what it looked like, then I would have it. As far as I'm aware, that means that it's not in any particular color. So this one would need to not be in a city for it to actually work for that, and that would give him another 4 points if he happened to have that. Once you've taken the points from this card, any level 2 butterfly, so you can do it just once, that hasn't been hatched yet, would go straight up onto the board, so you don't have to pay for that one. And then we remove all of the level 1 butterflies from the game. So you're just playing with generation 2 and up now. To go from generation 2 to generation 3, you'll need 3 of the same flower, or 4 of any. To go from level 3 to level 4, or generation 3 to generation 4, you'd need 4 of the same flower, or 5 of any. And to go from generation 4 to double generation 4 is the exact same 4 or 5 of any. So in the summer, once you get to this second session, all of these cards come in, by the way. So we've finished off spring. They come in and become a discard pile. The person who will go first is the person who's furthest back on this track. So blue would actually be the first player through summer in this particular case. What this card is looking for is at least 1 butterfly surrounding all 3 of those towns. So at the moment we've got 1 butterfly around Winnipeg. If this one moved across 1, it would be next to Toronto. To get a butterfly up to here to be next to Quebec City at the end of that season. Once you're at the end of the season, if that's what it looks like, you would get 7 more points on that track. If this guy was here, that would get another 2 points because there's 2 points for each butterfly you have on a double flower spot. So if he was over here, that's another 2 points as well. And anything with this little exclamation mark on it means that stuff that happens during this season. which means that if anything is bred in between Chicago and Atlanta, so in this space, put this guy down here, so for example there, if he breeds up to a level 3 from that position, you would get 2 more points. When you get to the end of summer, exactly the same thing happens as happened at the end of spring. If you still have some level 3 or generation 3 butterflies on here, only one of them will come over to become level 2 or generation to replace the generation 2s. The generation 2s then get removed from the board. Generation 3 can't obviously breed into generation 3, so if you have extra generation 3s, they just get discarded. Generation 3s would have to breed up into generation 4 butterflies. If you have a generation 4 butterfly that breeds up, it would breed to the double side, and by the end of the game, you're trying to get it down to the bottom. So what you're now looking at the very end of the game, you go through the rules on the back of the card for what those points are going to be, which is on this card, which hasn't been turned over at the moment. Then for each level 4 butterfly that's down in Mexico, you would get the points. So at the moment, I've got 2 level 4 butterflies. But because I've got the 5 green, that actually counts for 1 more level 4 butterfly, so it's 3. So instead of being 7 points, it's worth 12 points. If I could get that in there, there's 3 of them, it's 12, but with that would make it 17, etc. For any more than 6 that you happen to get down there, you would actually get another 2 points. So it's not as beneficial to get them down, but it's still, you know, if you can do it, then great. But it's only worth 2 extra points on top of the 24 if you can get more than the 6, and it's 2 extra points for each butterfly that gets down there. And I think that I have covered everything that is necessary on this game. Please go ahead and watch my gameplay to get a feel for how the game actually plays. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you would like to be gamesplaned, please shoot me an email to thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter @thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games that I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.